nearly everyone has a cell phone. So we've been pushing a number of things through the cell phones in terms of bill notification, outage messages, and just other general information to help them through the process.
When we looked at our route to custom, we recognized we were in the dark ages. It's no more in no developed market, and even many developed markets, the idea of a customer needing to visit a physical office to either join the grid, change location or supply, or exit the grid, which is the primary reason, is no longer, is not necessary to be done. And in many markets, from over 30, 40 years, that, some, if you ask the average person or diaspora what the electricity company look like, they don't know what it looks like. And therefore, as we too have aspirations to serve customers by first world standards, whereby in the ONEs, right, they can join the grid, which is sign up, which is the primary person going to our office, transfer the supply, and move in from apartment number 10 to townhouse number 15, or if they're leaving the grid. And we believe that can be totally done digitally, and we have proved that. And we moved from a situation where we had probably about 50,000 users on the mobile app.
To over 342,000.
No, well, we had 50 to about 342,000, which is providing all of these services plus more, as Michelle mentioned, in a digital form. Quite frankly, those brick and mortars were not necessarily serving our customers efficiently in terms of location. Can you imagine? And I'm from St. Elizabeth, and we had an office in Black River. To drive from Elders to St. Elizabeth to Black River to just join the grid, it was totally inefficient. So we have digitalized our services, understanding that we have some particular social elements whereby we have had to make certain allowances in terms of fulfillment there. And that's one of the reasons that what we have created a mix in terms of still having offices at certain key points to have fulfillment for persons that are vulnerable.
What's the savings
in that regard?
What has been the savings?
In terms of savings, our investment in terms of the technological infrastructure has been significant. Our operating costs in terms of the people costs associated with those offices, we were able to save.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and we're not trying to deflect the question, but some of the efficiencies that we see now, that we'll see in the future, come from some marginal reduction in people. So it's very delicate, you can imagine, to talk about what savings when you talk about our employees. But I think beyond that, some of the savings you would have expected from closing offices haven't yet been materialized entirely, because in the transition periods where we are today, we are investing on the technology, for example, to make sure all the new call center, the app and so on, to make sure that we have the tool for the next 20 years, not just for short term. In addition, we have directed some of the people that we didn't need in those 7 offices into the remaining offices, and the way to serve the customers behind the phone and so on, to make sure that we increase the quality of service as well. So, and the training and so on. So it's not just a pure saving things, you close 7 offices, people out, rental out. It says, no, we look at it more comprehensively. It says, but we have some really good people, we'll put them into training, we'll put them behind the phone, we'll make sure that when you enter to an office, there are additional people to direct you towards the app and so on.
You must have had a projection. You want these locations would have been strategically selected because they fit some cost profile or something. So even though some of the savings have not necessarily materialized, but you must have had.
So when you look at the offices that have been closed, first and foremost, you look at the traffic going through those offices. Right. Just to give you a rough idea, customer base of just over 680,000. Under 10% of our customers visit an office to do any transaction. And then when you break that down further, there were certain of these offices that were open that the traffic was minimal, right? So the impact on the majority of the customers wasn't that significant. But we do recognize that there are customers who visited these offices routinely to do their transactions. And so what we're working on is how best to help those customers
How have you been?
through that. So one of the key things is, and cell phones, nearly everyone has a cell phone. So we've been pushing a number of things through the cell phones in terms of bill notification, outage messages, and just other general information to help them through the process. When there are queries, we've spent a lot of money invested in our call center and in terms of various enhancements. So one of the simple things for most persons, and they'll say, well, customer education is key. Also, the level of education for customers is also a challenge at times. When you call the call center now, once you put it, dial the number, and it recognizes your telephone number you're calling from, automatically it gives you general information on your account status and so on. So we're working through a number of initiatives to improve it for all customers, not just the technically savvy customers.
The issues of internet penetration, so a lot of people have phones, but they don't necessarily can't afford the data service.
No, and hence the toll-free number in the call center, the IVR, is doing a lot more than it was doing in the past. And there's some of the investment that we put into that. So it's a work in progress. We're still transitioning through that. We still have customers that we're going to be working a lot more closely with. We've also stepped up our community reach out programs, where not only on the digital platform, but in the communities, we go in with our mobile JPS office, and we go into various communities and spend days doing surgery in those communities.